Dave Marsden just came in. I'm so excited to get Dave on. And I love Dave. He's a Democratic senator from Fairfax, part of the Chap Peterson Boys Are Back in Town group. And Dave has been a major advocate in restricting or in legislating guns, if I can make it politically correct, David. But I appreciate you coming down.
Yeah.
A lot of my listeners today and me very upset by what the governor did. And is there only one entrance going in? He's pouring it on the street. They're closing streets down. Why not just let peaceful gun owners, David, have their rally, leave us alone? I mean, to sit there and say they're going to take over storm the Capitol and take over the government? Come on, Dave.
Well, we have had a security briefing, and I'm not at liberty to disclose, everything that was going on. But remember, this is not our Virginia guys anymore. This is people from all over the country. That's the difference. And some of these folks obviously have some legitimate, Second Amendment concerns, and they're Americans, and, coming to Virginia is, perfectly acceptable. Then there are some others who have some different agendas. And they're you're looking through the dark web. You're doing all the things that police departments do to try to get a handle on the security concerns. And it's just like anything, John. There are I hate to say the few bad actors argument, but there are some folks there with troubling agendas, and people with troubling histories. And that's the governor's concern, and I think you have to respect that he's doing, the right thing.
I don't respect it because I no longer believe him. I mean, he's got a credibility issue. Blackface, Ku Klux Klan, killing babies on tables, changing his position on any given day. I mean, he doesn't have any credibility with a lot of Virginians. I mean, when he said he is blackface, he's not blackface, he never heard of blackface, then he changed. I mean, so the guy has no credibility. That's the problem.
Well, I've known Ralph for a long time, and he sure has credibility with me, and I trust him on this issue. I trust our Colonel Settle from the state police. I trust Colonel Pike. That they're doing their research.
Do you really believe that 100,000 people were coming to Richmond, the overwhelming majority, 90%, 95% from Virginia, because they're upset about the infringement on their Second Amendment? Senator, do you really believe they were going to storm the Capitol and take over the government? Do you really believe that, Senator?
There are significant information about troublemakers coming. It doesn't take that many, John. I've been in corrections all my life. I have seen what can happen to a correctional facility when one guy enters into that population and turns it on its head. These are things that you do have to be concerned about. And the first people, if something bad happened, who said the first thing they'd say is, well, the governor and the police, they underreacted, they didn't do their jobs. You probably overcorrect a little bit, but we don't know what's coming.
So are you just going to ban every rally now?
No.
If it's a Democrat rally and Antifa's coming with black hoods on, Senator, that's fine, right? That's fine.
No, John. That's
100,000 people
John.
are coming.
That's being ridiculous. If the police are telling the governor that Antifa was coming here and they were going to cause trouble, it'd be the same thing. Those guys. Nobody even knows who funds those folks. They do, involve themselves with weapons. They bring their own medics. I mean, that's a scary group too. Just because they, on the extreme, co-align with certain things that I believe in. I don't have any faith in or trust or interest in a group like that. I try to stay within the lines, but I'll tell you something. It's just how quickly information can get out of control in a polarized and difficult environment where there's a passionate issue. Can I tell you my gun tale for this year? December 17th, I got invited to a youth forum in the Sully district from the Democratic Party. 3 kids were going to ask me and a couple of delegates some questions about guns, the environment, and some other topic. Well, one of the kids put it on a Brady website. So instead of kids coming to the event, I had 80 VCDL members showing up thinking it was a town hall because it was on the website. That's fine. They were there. So we said, guys, come on, this is a kids event. But I said, I will stay around afterwards and talk to you about guns, take all your questions, but this is for the kids. And so we went through the program. A couple of guys tried to interrupt, but they were basically, behaved pretty well. I didn't realize I was being live streamed to 50 to 100,000 people during the whole thing. And I'd given out my cell phone number at the start of it because they're my constituents. If you don't have my cell phone number, you don't live in Fairfax County. And so I gave my cell phone number out. I said, I'll stick around, guys. The people getting live streamed didn't hear that part because they picked up once the program actually started. So they assumed that I didn't take any questions, that we didn't take any questions, that we were freezing out the people. And like, oh my God. So at any rate, I got lit up all over the country. I finally had to turn it over to the Capitol Police. I had several hundred texts, mostly, some obscene voice messages, but mostly obscene, vulgar texts. A few that were responsible and just expressing their views on the Second Amendment and trying to educate me. But a lot of them were scary. 3 or 4 death threats and what have you. And because my meeting with the VCDL ended the way it always does. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, guys. Sorry we disagree on this stuff and what have you. And because as you know, when I come down here and it's gun lobby day, I pack my office with at least 25 people, wall to wall, twice, and we go at it on guns. And I tell them where I agree with them. I'm a supporter of concealed carry by licensed people because I think we're all safer at ATM machines because of it. I'm a little skeptical. I just don't know what to make out of gun-free zones. I don't want them in schools, but at the same time, if a gun's going to save a life, as they say they will, then people need to have them in certain places. And I think it's more dangerous to take a gun off your person sitting in a car, to leave it in the car, or be seen putting it in the trunk so that someone can steal it. Richmond had a month last year, I'm told, where 100 guns were stolen out of cars. It's like aisle 6 at Walmart. And so at any rate, but my story continues. So we have a forum in Fairfax on January the 4th, where all the delegates and senators are sitting there listening to everybody do 3 minutes. Got 100 VCDL members there. Fine. Great. Except the way they behaved. They didn't behave well. They booed, they hooted, they hollered, they interrupted, even on issues that weren't involved with guns. If somebody was talking about, immigration or voting rights or whatever, they'd holler out and what have you. So at the end of it, I went over to another delegate and says, "You're gonna stick around?" Because most of them hadn't signed up. And so we were going to go extra innings so that we could hear everybody. And so I'd gone to a delegate and I said, you're going to stay and listen to the gun folks and gun guys? And they said no, they had someplace else to go. And I said, but this is nuts. They're acting like children. I did say that, and it was on a hot mic. I should have said it publicly. I should have said, hey guys, you're acting boorishly and childishly in here. And here is the problem that I think VCDL has, John. Right now, it's hard for us to, on my side of the aisle, to take them credibly when their leadership is on the internet talking about sock puppet guns for kids and teaching kids how to shoot naughty men at age 3 by a song called "Heads, Shoulders, Not the Toes." You've seen the video. This is the Virginia General Assembly is the Western world's oldest deliberative body. When we start talking about guns, we have no one to talk to.
So you don't like VCL?
No, I love the guys.
You don't like their leadership, so therefore you're
not
kicking
a
the
bit.
rally out. How come there's only one entrance? I mean, look.
I get. Let me just finish my story, John.
Go ahead.
Let me just finish the
Go ahead, David.
tale here.
Go ahead,
Needless to say, I get lit up, on that as well. I'm VCDL's best friend because I've been telling them. I said, guys, you got a couple of problems. Says one, you haven't refuted what your leadership has said to us, then that's what your organization is about. Silly things like that. If you don't come down here and deliberate and work with us, we have no one to talk to. We're creating gun bills in a vacuum. NRA doesn't sit down with us. VCDL doesn't sit down with us. All you do is come down and say no changes, no laws. And the fact is, 26 delegates have flipped in the General Assembly. They say we're not listening to the people. We are listening to the people. That was the big issue in the last 2 elections, that and health care. And we flipped 26 seats. sit down at the table with us, help us craft compromises. But instead, we're doing it unilaterally. We're in a situation where we're creating bills, and folks should be at the table with us because they would feel a whole heck of a lot better if they had their say. But instead, all they're doing is coming down and reacting to what we're doing. And I don't know anything about one entrance to the Capitol grounds that you're talking about. I'm not a police officer. I don't know crowd control and what they're trying to do. But I'll turn it back to you.
Well, first of all, the National Rifle Association, the NRA, has been working with your caucus in order to craft things that are acceptable. So I can say that the VCADL might have a separate strategy, but let them have their rally. I mean, what Northam did yesterday, and I just don't trust the guy based on his history now. And I used to be a supporter of his and a friend of his. Now, kill babies on tables, blackface, moonwalk. I'm done with the guy. So he comes up there yesterday, and he basically effectively shut the rally down by saying you can't come to the Capitol Square. There's only one entrance, and he's going to force everybody out on the street. And now he's closing the entire 5-block area. Just let them have their rally. Nothing was going to happen. The rally will come. The rally will go. But here's what you don't want. You don't want aerial views of 100,000 people on the Richmond grounds protesting your gun-grabbing legislation. You don't want that on the national news, because that is going to inspire people that own guns who don't vote to get registered and vote Democrats out. That's why he did that.
John, have you had a conversation with the governor? Do you know the intelligence that he has received from the police? You don't. If we're taking into consideration Virginians, they've always behaved well during the yearly Gun Rights Day rally. But
yes,
that's not
for 30 years.
Exactly, but that ain't what this rally's all about, John. This one is people coming in buses from other parts of the country. And this is based on intelligence that you haven't been briefed on.
Well, all the buses that we have are coming from Virginia.
Yeah, well, that's we. You know what we are doing. You don't know what they are doing. We don't know who they are. The governor and his folks do, and the governor is credible. He is, certainly he has some things that have popped up that have popped up
like
that make people
blackface, and then in it, and then coming the following day and saying he isn't in it.
Well, he. The poor guy was so taken aback by it, he assumed it must have been him, but it wasn't. It wasn't him in that picture, and it is. I don't know, the rest of that. All I know the way is that this guy's governorship and his leadership has been solid. And we're moving Virginia forward. We're taking us into the 21st century. It's a little bumpy, and we're finding that Virginians have disagreements about this whole thing. But we're delivering here in the legislature on what we ran on, John. We didn't make any false claims or what have you that we're sneaking in the door.
You believe you have a mandate. I get it. And the two issues that you got this majority on were very simple. Trump sucks and guns. That was your
and
issues.
Healthcare.
No, that was the message. The Republicans had no message to counter that, and your message was Trump sucks and guns. So you have a mandate. I get that, right? I get if there's anybody that understands that, it's me more than anybody. I also understand that people now are waking up that you're going to restrict their ability to exercise their Second Amendment right. They want to come to Richmond and they want to be heard. And what the governor did yesterday, I just don't believe him. Well, I'm sorry.
John, just to your larger point there. At the end of the day, what gun are you not going to be able to possess that you possess right now?
I don't know what you guys are going to pass. All I know is your majority leader, Dick Saslaw, the Godfather, a serious 40-year legislator in Richmond, submitted SB 16. If Mark Levin submitted it, whack job, Fairfax, I would have chuckled. Dick Saslaw put that bill in. That means that's where you're going.
And what happened to that bill day one?
It doesn't matter. It'll be back. Your majority leader put in that bill, not some backbencher. You have to answer to that. I got to go. John Fredericks Radio Network. I want to thank David Marsden, Senator Fairfax, for his candor here, and Steve.